Hey Exiles, this video is not going over the massive changes or additions happening in Path of Exile to the Third Edict. Instead, I'd like to talk about the reaction happening right now in the community to the patch notes and the patch itself, because it's actually been a little divisive from what I've read and from what I have heard. People are a little bit confused about what's going on in the patch notes. They see that a lot of things are getting nerfed despite this being a buff-heavy patch, and I'd like to provide a little bit of context and hopefully spark a compelling and reasonable discussion about all this right here and now, about 7 days out from the Third Edict releasing. Because right now, we all might feel like idiots, because we're completely in the dark. The game has been completely reimagined again, just like what happened in Dawn of the Hunt, and we don't know how it's going to play. We don't know how our characters are going to feel. We have so many different options available to us, and I just want to ensure that people understand what things are actually changing once they enter the game next Friday. Brief interlude asking you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. It seriously helps push it in the algorithm. It's the best thing that you can do to help the channel grow. Thank you. So first, let's talk about the patch notes. Because when I talked to Jonathan Rogers the night before the big reveal, when I saw the presentation, I just saw buffs. I saw him talking about the need to raise everything up so that it felt good, so that the game was fun to play, so more things were viable, and that really excited me. During a lot of the presentation, it felt like Jonathan was speaking to me as a player, because the end game was getting smoother progression. All these different build types were getting new ways to scale, items were getting new ways to actually craft them. All these things were being added that I could reasonably understand as a low knowledge casual player, and I was quite excited. So then we go into the presentation the day of, all the buffs are being hyped up, and then the patch notes release, and honestly, it is a bloodbath for some abilities. Some things have been completely gutted, including my brother-in-law's favorite skill in the game, Rapid Fire, which can no longer really be a sole skill or a build-defining skill per the reading of it, which is very unfortunate. This leaves many different people who enjoy many different skills that have been gutted wondering what in the world is going on. How can I play this skill that I love? How am I going to craft this build right now? I'm just going to get completely nuked upon entering the game. I have absolutely no way to scale this, and I'm thinking, okay, we are missing things. We don't have all of the information here. What we have from the patch notes and from the reveal are bits and pieces of the puzzle. There's lots of additions that have occurred in Path of Exile 2 with this very update. We have the lineage support gems, which, yes, perhaps they are low drop rates. We'll have to find that out. We have all the different ways to craft now, with the different tiers of Exalted Orb, Transmutation Orb, Augmentation Orb, and the like. We also have Abyssal Crafting, which is opening up brand new modifiers. We have Essences acting as Regals. All these things are allowing us to scale our characters in different ways. And I haven't even mentioned the most changed, biggest build divining thing in the entire patch when it comes to character systems. No, not support gems. I'm actually talking about the passive skill tree, because they have not only added over 100 new notables and clusters to the passive skill tree that do have some super powerful traits within them, they've also made it so the skill tree is easier to traverse. They've removed some of the attribute nodes so you're able to access these powerful clusters faster and scale your character in more interesting ways instead of just spending points on attributes. That's awesome, and we have to remember 25% reduced attribute requirements across the board for gems and gear, so we won't need those attribute nodes anyways. That's good. There's also so many other things. Instant weapon swap is another big one. I think that's actually going to open up quite a bit of potential, and people are sleeping on it. So what I'm saying is a lot of people do seem to be forgetting that yes, there are nerfs in the patch notes, but that's only part of the picture. Now, I could be wrong. We could be losing out on a bunch of power for some of these playstyles, like Rapid Fire, which I mentioned earlier, and that would definitely suck. But, and I know this is why I have embraced the title of Grinding Gear Games shill, I have faith in them. I seriously have faith in this company. They're not trying to bait and switch us. I really don't see any mean-spiritedness in any of the developers that I see speaking to Darth Microtransaction in his interviews, to the people I speak with on Discord, to Mark Roberts or Jonathan Rogers in those developer interviews where they are giving candid responses, talking about how they have sincerely messed up. They think they have answers to all the problems that players have been having, and they're showing their answers to us in this patch. And if they don't work out, well, then they're going to try again. And they're going to keep trying until the players are satisfied. So while a lot of people are expressing extreme worry with lots of nerfs across the board to some beloved character types, I bid you, wait until Friday. Give it a few days. Go in, discover everything anew. This is something that I also am at odds with a lot of the community in. I love the feeling of discovery. I haven't used a build guide for Path of Exile 2 yet. I didn't really use build guides in Path of Exile 1 for the longest time, and it's lovely. You go in, you organically grow your character, exploring the tree, using support gems that make sense, and see how far you can go. It's a feeling unlike anything else, and I feel like with this patch once again, we're getting that. I love it. Lots of people in the ARPG community do not love it. They want exacts. They want specifics. They want to know how much this is going to scale, how fast it can scale, how to build it the most optimally. And they don't want that a week into the league, 2 weeks into the league, a month into the league. They don't want to really discover it organically a lot of the time. They want to be able to calculate it. They want to be able to premeditate what they're going to do when the game launches. And unfortunately, Path of Exile 2 just keeps getting shaken up. So a lot of people feel like idiots right now. There's many different perspectives, but I'll group them into two right now. There's people who embrace the idiotic feeling, the feeling of just going in dumb and experiencing everything fresh and just enjoying that experience. And then there's the side that is upset that they have to go in without knowing all these other tools they can use and abuse to progress their character as far as possible. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that there's just some nuance that's needed there, because a lot of the discussion I see is saying, okay, well, GGG is intentionally trying to make my experience worse. I'm not going to play this patch because of these nerfs. I can almost guarantee you that's not what's happening. I think they want to encourage fun. They want to encourage more players playing for longer to get more sales from the MTX store, for their stash tabs, for their supporter packs. I really think that they're trying to address problems here in the best way possible, as fast as possible. Maybe they didn't do it this time. Hopefully they will the next time. Please let me know your opinion on this topic below. Which camp do you reside in? Are you a little bit of both? I understand all sides, even though I'm embracing just being blind, not knowing what we're really gonna get, and just making a build as I progress. I really love that sort of play, and I want to keep that happening, that golden age happening in Path of Exile 2 as long as possible. And I really encourage you to do the same. I think this is possible in Path of Exile 2 right now. Now, moving over to something that I don't think is as reasonable a position, but I think should still be talked about. It's what's missing from this patch. Yes, of course, we're missing a lot of information from the patch notes in regards to all the new stuff being added, the new uniques and lineage gems, so we don't know how our characters are going to scale. We all just talked about that. However, there's also a few key things missing from the game that people are upset about. One, namely, being the druid, which, of course, when I learned the druid was not in 0.3, I was immediately saddened. When I saw that splash screen of everything within and druid wasn't on there, my heart sunk. But as the presentation by Grinding Gear Games gradually went on, I realized, wow, with no new class added, they really had to go hard on the changes. They had to go hard on the revamps. They really had to be innovative here and address many things that players had concerns with, and they did. The list just kept going, and when I saw unarmed strikes with the hollow palm technique, I lost control. I forgave them for no druid. And then we learned that druid is confirmed to be coming in 0.4. We're getting druid for Christmas. So that's great. However, a lot of people are extremely upset and see this patch as a pure L because there was no druid. People are going as far to say as there are only minor tweaks happening. None of this is substantial. I know people might think this is rage bait, but I'd just like to highlight that this position is pretty common and talk about why it's wrong. So this right here, these are responses under my tweet asking if this patch was a W or an L with this infamous screen grab of Jonathan. Of course, we have Aaron saying log into last Epoch. I did play a little bit of it today, but we do have many comments resounding in the fact that there's no druid, bad patch, mixed with the huge W's. Here is one example. Massive L were forced to do the same endgame content with one new act using all the same classes and slightly tweaked abilities for the next 5 months. Yeah, no thanks. I don't know, dude. What I certainly know is that I won't spend a dime in this game ever again. Not worth it. I'm not coming back until they remove tower or replace it with something 1,000 times better, and so on and so forth. All right, this is take number 9. My daughter just peed the bed, so I had to go clean all that up and get her back to sleep. It was a bad night terror. Essentially, Grinding Gear Games has stated that they had to make this cut because they wanted to ship this on time. They are locking dates, not features within patches, and the druid was the casualty of war, as was Trial of the Ancestors, obviously Act 5 and 6, and a few other things, like Ascendancy classes. But they've stressed the fact that they want to make sure that what's in the game actually is playable and they're not caught in this state of constant catch-up. If they're constantly focusing on releasing the new class and not focusing on what's bad in the game, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse, which they've claimed was what happened with Dawn of the Hunt and why that was so poorly received. They put all the effort into shipping the Huntress and didn't make any other real substantial balance changes in that patch, and people were extremely upset. That did not happen with 0.3. They claim to have learned their lesson. It seems like they've gone all in on making all of these classes incredibly fun. They've added a bunch of new customization options to the game. My only real big question is, how accessible are all of these different customization options? I really hope all these new omens, lineage supports, crafting orbs, the abyss stuff, I hope it's not giga rare. The highest end stuff should be incredibly rare, very difficult to get, but you should be able to make good items relatively easily. Not GG items, not incredible items, not amazing, good items relatively easily. And obtain build defining things, not god tier things, relatively easily. Ooh, these lineage supports are gonna be interesting, everybody. Okay, that's enough yapping for me. Let me know in the comments. Do you feel like an idiot? Does that excite you? Does that make you afraid? What do you think about the patch notes? What do you think about the patch? I'm excited. I think I'm going to go with an unarmed invoker for launch, but I'm not too sure. I am going to be putting out a build concept, and if you want to see that, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the nub notification bell, and leave a comment. Really appreciate it. Thank you all so much for your support. I'll see you in the next video, or maybe you want to watch my reaction to the patch right here, right on screen, or my Jonathan interview. Either works. Anyways, have fun and stay sane.